So good morning again. My name is Monique Guillory. I currently serve as the Chief of Staff and Senior Vice President in the Office of the President. And I want to thank you all for being here this morning. Some of you have already heard highlights and a preview of Dr. Edington's vision and goals for the university. But we want to thank you for joining us for this town hall. We'll hear about what his first 30 days or so have been like. It hasn't even been 30 days, has it?
Not quite.
Not quite, yeah, almost 2 weeks, but I'm sure president time, it seems like.
Right.
But and hot off the press from the Washington Post, if you all have not seen that article yet, it is really wonderful, and we are so fortunate this morning to be welcoming Dr. Maurice Edington, his lovely wife, Tanya, to UDC for this town hall. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is certainly a pleasure to be here with you this morning. And I do want to introduce my lovely wife, Tanya Edington, who is here, as Monique said. Please welcome her. And I do apologize to those in the audience who have heard this spiel before, because I've been meeting with different groups and individuals in the community on and off campus and sharing the thoughts and ideas that I'm going to share today. So I'm looking around and I can see some of you have probably heard this 3 times already. So I do apologize. I'll try to switch it up every now and then to keep you awake. But I wanted to get around and have introductory meetings with as many stakeholder groups as possible at the beginning of my tenure as an administrator here and as a leader here, because I think it's very important that we get to know each other and that the community gets to know me and understand me as a person, as a leader. And then it's also very important that I have an opportunity to share preliminary thoughts about my vision, things I think we need to focus on as a team, and what we're trying to do here. Right? And so that's what today is about. Okay, so I'll do that by introducing myself. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the work that I did before I got here to help me prepare and to help me learn about the community. But then I'll talk about my vision, areas of focus, and what the next 90 days are going to look like. Okay, just want to share what was going on from the time that I was selected as 10th president to when I got in town at the end of July. One of the things that I thought was very important for me and helpful for me was to begin to meet with key campus stakeholders to begin to understand particular roles and responsibilities, begin to meet and get to know one another on a one-on-one basis, and get some thoughts about what some of their initial priorities are for me coming in the door. So I had 31 meetings before I got here, remote meetings, one-on-one meetings with key individuals. And those are very helpful. Gave me a really good foundation coming in the door. Had 3 meetings with external stakeholders. Again, same thing, very, very insightful and helpful for me. And as you can imagine, many informal discussions. Many people who are connected with UDC from across the country reached out to me in many different ways to share their thoughts with the new president. So that was helpful as well. But I also did some research. So I was provided with and requested some information, some data, and a SWOT analysis for several key units on campus. And so I spent some time studying, reading, and learning, and I'm still pouring through that information because that also complemented, supplemented the information and feedback I got in those meetings, but again, give me a solid foundation about the institution. And then as I think about, well, what did I learn? What did I hear, right? First and foremost, there is a strong commitment individually from each person that I interacted with to this institution, right? And some of you who read the Washington Post article, I talked about that a little bit because it was a magnet that attracted me during the interview process, and that it became very obvious from the moment I interacted with the first search committee, to coming on campus. I said, wow, the individuals that I'm interacting with that are connected to this university love this university. And then that came through in those one-on-one meetings. And that's important to somebody who's considering joining the family, right? Because who's going to join a family if the family members don't want to be in the family? Right? That's not a good thing to do. So that was very attractive. It drew me in. Also, great pride in the achievements that have already occurred, particularly recently under President Mason's leadership, really stabilized and then positioned this institution to take off. A lot of pride in that. And a lot of pride in what you're currently doing now. I got that too, right? It came out. And then I also got some good feedback around some of the opportunities that we have to get better. Not really going in a lot of detail about those things, right? But there was a lot of feedback, very pointed feedback that said, hey, President Edington, could you take a look at this? Here's something we need to get better at as an institution. And so I've got all of those things and I'm incorporating them. Some of them you'll see me kind of allude to later. But again, just want to let you know there was a lot of work. I felt like I was going back to school, and I was in school for 2 months before the semester started, okay? So I felt like I'm prepped up. I haven't learned everything. I felt like I was prepped up to come to school, right? So that was good. Now let me tell you about me. This is how I see me, right? So I could be off on some things. So I'm presenting this as this is how I see myself, okay? I leave it to you during the time that we're going to work together to determine if this is true. But I think it's important for us, if as your leader, the people I'm leading understand how I want to lead, right? That kind of makes sense, right? And it's important to me that you understand what things I prioritize as a leader. And I think it's important that you understand what types of things I will expect from people who lead as part of my leadership team. And so first, when I think about me and kind of the type of leader that I think I am, you look at different definitions of leaders, right? There's books and books and books written about this. The one description that I think does a really good job of capturing some of the essence of me is transformational leadership. Because the way I think is about the future, right? Big. My wife is here. I can tell this story because she's here. But in all the other times I've been talking about this topic, I use this example. It's kind of made up, but it's kind of help you understand. And I was like, yeah, I could be with my wife on a vacation, take her to Hawaii for 2 weeks, and we sitting there half drunk on Mai Tais and drinks, and, right, sitting there on the beach. It's beautiful. Now, she look at me, glossy eyes, smile on her face. Then I look at her, and she's probably thinking something, oh, this is fantastic. I just love this man. Look what he did. I'm thinking, where can I take her next year to top this? In the moment. You understand? I think in the future. I'm enjoying the moment, but I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about how to get better, how to take it to the next level. That's how I think about us and what we're going to do here as a team. Where are we taking this institution, right? That's what I think, and that's what drives me. I'm a scientist, if you didn't know. I'm a chemist by training. So, of course, I'm data-driven, right? I am data-driven. I believe in using data to make evidence-based decisions. I appreciate opinions. They're important, but opinions don't move the needle on the things that matter most, right? And so I'm telling everybody, hey, we got to be grounded in information and facts as we make decisions. Very results-oriented, outcomes, right? Activity and actions is good. Rah, rah, rah. We did this, we did that. That's fantastic. But how did that help move the needle on the things that matter most to us as an institution? Right? I also want to have that conversation, right? As we talk about all the great things we're doing, we should also connect that to the outcome, right? Because we have to really be careful because we don't have infinite resources, right? We don't. And so if there are things that matter to us, if there's 10 things that are really important to us as an institution, as an organization, as a group, as leaders, as faculty, staff, and students, we have to always ask ourselves, are we aligning the resources, the time, the energy, the dollars, right? Is it aligned to move the needle on the things that matter most, right? That's how we have to think as a leadership group, as a leadership team. Same way when you're at home, managing your dollars and cents, holding your household together. You are going to think twice about whether you can go to the movies on Friday. If the rent is due on Friday, you are going to make sure that you have sufficient resources to do both. If not, you're going to cut one of those out based on your priority framework. I'm not speculating on which one you will cut out. It's based on your framework, right? But you have a framework. Some people's framework might be frugality, stability. They're going to not go to the movies. Some people's framework might be fun and excitement. They worry about the rent later. They're going to have some fun on Friday. You understand? But they have, in both cases, they have a framework, you see, even if you're not consciously thinking about it. And so everything we do has to be grounded in a framework, right? A mode of operation, the things that are important to us. And so we got to look at the results, okay? That's very, very important. I'm very analytical, methodical. So I told you I'm a scientist. And for those that don't know, chemists are very analytical. That's just our gift and a curse. And so I have to tell people, as you get to know me, don't be bothered that I have to go through my own thought process. I know my wife over here is going to say, preach, because she always says she wants me to make a decision about something right now. And I said, oh, slow down. I got to process it for myself. Am I lying? Look at it. She's like, no. That's just how I am. That's how my brain works. I have to process it. I have to go through the steps, the nuances, assess, evaluate, right? That's the chemist in me. But most of the time I feel good about the outcome, right, the decision. And that's why I do that. And so I say that, particularly those people that, when we're in meetings and things like that, I want to walk through. You'll come in there, okay, Dr. Edington, I got this and da-da-da-da-da. Can we do it? And I'm just looking at you, processing, right, like this. And then you'll leave the meeting. I haven't said yes or no. You came to the meeting to get an answer so you can go off and do what you're trying to do. I need time to make sure it's a good idea, right? And so I'm sharing that on the front end so that we know what's going on, right? That's what's going on. It's not that I don't think it's important. It's not that I'm not listening to you. I have to do it my way, right? And that's what I'll do. But I also believe in being collaborative, very collaborative, probably overly collaborative in many ways, right? Because it's important that we feel that we are operating as a team. I'm not here to be a dictator, right? I will fail as your president. You understand? I will fail at this job. And if I fail at this job, that means the institution is failing. And we cannot have that. And so I know and believe to the core of my soul that we have to be a team, right? We got to be on the same page. And so we got to talk. We got to listen and learn. And that's one of the reasons why I'm spending so much time, even before I got here, and why I wanted to share with you the amount of time I spent listening and learning. And it's also why I'm spending this first month meeting. I got meetings all day, in the evenings. I got lunch meetings. I got dinner meetings. I got dinner 4 days this week. Lunch 3 or 4 days this week. I got meetings like this, right? It's important to me to take the time to listen and learn about the people who are most connected to this institution and who love it the most. And as we're doing that, we're going to continuously factor that feedback and those conversations into our action plan as leaders. And then when we finalize it, we can feel confident, and you can feel confident that it has the perspectives of the stakeholders, right? That's the whole point of doing those things. Also, I believe I'm a very empathetic and compassionate person. Sometimes people around me say I'm too empathetic, right? Because I will want to know what's driving you, right? I want to know. I want to understand you as a person. Why? One of the reasons is if I'm your leader and I understand what makes you tick, if I understand what makes you happy, what makes you unhappy, if I understand what you're good at, what you're not so good at, guess what I can do with that data and information? I can make some evidence-based decisions about how we interact with each other. I can position you to be the best person that you can be in your role if I understand you, right? If you just hate 8 o'clock meetings, why would I schedule an 8 o'clock strategy session with you? Think about that, right? If you're really good at 5 things, but that 6th thing is not your strength, I will double down on the 5. Work with you on the 6, but I'll find somebody else because I'd rather get twice as much on the 5 than beating you up about why you can't give me what I want on the 1. You see what I'm saying? Right? We're both better off by leveraging the strengths that we bring to the table while we also help develop those things. But it's not in anybody's best interest to ignore the strengths because I'm frustrated about the weakness. That doesn't make any sense. So then you think about, well, what's my approach? Kind of some of that I've told you about. That first bullet there is what I try to live by, which is by example. I try to be the leader that I want you to be, right? The person I want you to be working as part of our team together. And so I really, 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 really believe in transparency, accountability, integrity. Those are my pillars, okay? And so if I'm working with people on a team, if you're not transparent, I don't want you around me. You see, I don't have the time to waste as the leader trying to work with the team and trying to figure out if you telling me everything I need to know. You understand? That's wasted energy for me. I need to take that energy and help lead the institution, right? So I try to tell everybody on the front end, everybody has a clean slate with me. I don't know y'all. Y'all don't know me, right? You understand? This is not about what happened in the past. I'm saying when I got here, I need you to be transparent with me. I need you to be accountable and hold those accountable that you can under your span of oversight. Because I'm going to hold everybody else accountable that works and reports to me. You see, that's accountable to what? To the things we should be doing, the goals that we've set, right? And as you see in a second, the way we treat each other, right? Accountable. And operating with integrity. I don't need to beat that drum, right? That is what it is, right? It's just being honest, right? And just be a good person, right? That's what this is all about. I believe, as I alluded to earlier, about setting big, bold, ambitious goals as your leader. And I've been telling everybody, y'all didn't bring me here for incremental change, right? You didn't say, let's launch a national search, vet these candidates, pick this dude right here, for him to come in and just move the needle just a little bit. You didn't need to do all that to move the needle a little bit. And I didn't come here for incremental change. I could have stayed in my little cushy life, right, in sunny Florida, right? You know, I could have, right? If that's what I wanted. But that's not what both of us wanted. Both of us wanted to come together and take this thing to another level. That's what I'm talking about. So back to that high level thinking that I'll talk about in a minute about where are we trying to take this institution. I believe as a leader, it's important to clarify, define, and make sure that everybody understands your role and responsibility, right? The better you understand where you fit as a piece of the puzzle, the more impactful and effective you're going to be in that role. And it really doesn't matter what the role is. Every role is impactful, right? Every role is impactful. And I'll share something. I was in a customer service training by this expert. And the expert had gone through the whole Disney experience. And the person used to work at Disney. You know, Disney is the gold standard, right? So she was explaining to us in this training about Disney and about why they are so good with service. And she said one example. She said, do you know that when you're like at Disney World or Disneyland on the West Coast, she said, you don't ever see any trash on the ground. Anybody thought, well, you think about it right now. You ever see trash on the ground when you go to Disney? No, right? She told us why. She said because if you work there, it's everybody's job to ensure there's no trash on the ground. Not just the custodial staff. You could be vice president so-and-so, president so-and-so, that doesn't matter. If you see a piece of trash on the ground, you must pick it up and dispose of it. Think about that. That's understanding my role and responsibility. That's a little different than we normally think about it, right? We normally think about our responsibility in the context of what's on the job description. And then when we get mad, we convince ourselves that we're doing our job well. It's everybody else that's messing up. Right? How do I know that's true? I'm not going to do it to y'all, but I used to do this little test when I used to talk like this. I say, hey, everybody, raise your hand if you think that you and your team offer great customer service. Guess what happens? Boom. Everybody in the room, hand goes up. Everybody. And I said, okay, follow-up question. Do you think the institution offers consistently high customer service to all the stakeholders? Right? But when you look at each person's face, it's this thing. Like they're thinking, we do a good job. It's the rest of them in here that's bad. Right? Y'all understand? But really, you're doing a poor job too. Right? Because it ain't about us and them. We all have a responsibility. Even if you're doing your part to pick the trash up, but you see that people that you work with walk right by the trash, you don't have to confront them. Tell somebody in somebody else's office. Send anonymous emails. You don't even have to mention a name. Sir, madam, we still have a problem. I've seen other members of the team walking by the trash some days. You as the leadership, you need to recommit everybody to that. You see how you can do that and feel comfortable doing it at the same time? When you understand your role on the team, it's a different way of thinking. It's going from a individual-centered mode of thinking about what you're doing and how you do your job, and you convince yourself you're doing your job well, to understanding that your job also includes how the organization is doing too. It just may not be stated in writing on the job description. But once our mindsets change, we think about work the same thing, the same way we think about our home environment. The same way. At home, you expect everybody in that house to pick the trash up off the lawn. Right? Nobody's going to walk. You sitting there and looking out the living room window, and you see somebody that lives in your house walk by and say, oh, and keep on walking. Guess what's happening when they get in the front door? They're going to hear it from you, right? Or you're going to do something to make them regret that they did not pick the trash. I don't care who it is. It could be your parent coming to see you. Mom, Dad, you all right today? Yeah. Why did you just walk by the trash outside, right? Yes. I'm just trying to convey the mentality, the mindset that we must have as a team working together. That's what that's all about. And again, fostering a team-oriented approach, right? Everything we have to do has to be about us, about we. How we working together? How are we working together? We. You should be saying we in your sleep. Us, we. Not I, not me. We, because we are part of the same ecosystem. And I alluded to this one earlier. If nothing else happens, everybody I work with is going to treat everybody with courtesy and respect. I can fail at everything else, you understand? But you can't work with me if you don't treat people with courtesy and respect. And I've been saying this everywhere I've been speaking since I got on this campus. So everybody is hearing me. I put it in writing. And after the first meeting I had when I presented this slide, they wrote me a nice email. And I really appreciate it because the person said, President Edington, when you talked about that, it resonated with me. Here is a slide of President Biden on his first day when he gave a talk to his employees, and it was like a video clip. In the video clip, I played it, and he said, that was him, he said, I will fire you on the spot if I see that you are not being respectful to members of the team. And so the person who sent the email said, hey, you may want to put a statement on there. Now, I was thinking, I said, well, I did spend some time talking about it, but I said, you know what, this person is correct. So I added this in writing. And when I wrote it, I saw the power in it. Because when you read it, there can never be any misunderstanding about what my expectation is. You might have said, I misheard you, President Edington. I thought you said this, but you said that. Now, give me a chance to start treating people right. I said, no, 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 no. It said in writing, my expectation is that each administrative team member will treat all UDC stakeholders with courtesy and respect. Now, I shouldn't have to say that, right? I shouldn't have to put that in writing. But the one thing I'll tell you, when I had those fantastic series of 31 one-on-one meetings when I was down in Florida on the Teams meeting, that was one of the things that I came across. Sir, can you pay attention to this when you get here? Nobody's telling me about who, what. It was just a theme. I said, got it, because that's who I am, you see. That's who I am. I'm going to treat you with courtesy and respect. I don't care who you are. Everybody deserves the same treatment. Shouldn't be based on what position you have at an organization, right? President walk in, everybody nice. President walk out, people start talking back. No. It's the same deal, okay? So we just want to stress that to the team. And the last one is another big one. So I've been doing all this talking about us, what I want from you, but it's a two-way street. We have to provide opportunities for our stakeholders, our team members, to grow, learn in your roles, right? Professional development, leadership training, those kinds of things are very important so that you always feel that you have an opportunity, an avenue to get better at not just what you're doing, but for another role that may pop up at UDC, right? Door open at UDC. We don't want you sitting around saying, how come everybody else always gets these jobs? Not me. Well, we at least want you to be competitive, right? So you can put your hat in the ring and be considered because you're growing and learning, right? So that's important to me. Okay? Now, before I share my vision, I want to share how I think about vision and leading. I told you about characteristics, but the way I think about leading is thematically, right? Globally, like very high level, like these buckets. And there's these three buckets that drive how I think about leading in general and how I think about leading UDC. And one has to do with performance outcomes. That's this theme that we should always have a focus on the outcomes. How are we performing? So that requires that we do what? We monitor progress and success. But in order for you to do that, you have to what? Identify the right key performance indicators, right? And so we're going to really spend some time, and there's a lot already in place. I'm not reinventing the wheel. What I'm saying is I want to make sure we have a focus on that in our thinking and the mode of operation. It's about performance. What happens if we do that and do it well? Then you start seeing an elevation in our student outcomes, our reputation as an institution, and things like rankings that people care about. All that comes from that. That means we're getting better, you see, getting better any way you define it. And so it's important thematically in our thinking. We focus on performance outcomes. Also, we should have a growth and prosperity way of thinking, right? You know, so what does that mean? That means that our mindset is about getting bigger. I don't mean necessarily in a quantifiable way only, right? I mean in our thinking, right? About growth, prosperity. You know, you think about successful organizations, whether it's another university, it's a business, you say, well, you know, what's my thought about it? It's like positivity is growth, it's excitement, it's this dynamic feeling, you understand? There's a vibrancy, right? It's a mindset, right? And so we always want to have a focus on growth and prosperity as an organization. And what happens when you do that? Well, our footprint gets expanded. The physical footprint gets expanded locally, in the district, in the region, but in people's minds, the UDC footprint is expanded. Y'all know what that means? You know how many people called me up or text me yesterday? You know what they said? I didn't know UDC was an HBCU. Think about this. What did we do? we expanded our footprint in that mind, right there. You see what I mean by in the mind? We are shaping people's perspective and perception of our organization because we have a growth and prosperity mindset. We are saying, here's how we want you to think of us. And it's this way. And if you do that, it's going to help us be more successful. So we are always beating on the door. And I'm stressing it's not just about getting more people, more money, more physical capacity. It's that. But it's also about a mindset. So I need y'all to have a growth and prosperity. I'm not preaching this prosperity sermon now that some of y'all know about. That's not what I mean. Right? I'm not going there. I'm talking about our mindset as an organization. Because think about it. If we're doing that, you will wear your UDC t-shirt more frequently on the weekends. And when you wear it more frequently, your chest sticks out a little bit more. And when your chest sticks out at the grocery store or whatever you do when you're doing it with your shirt on, people ask you questions. It always starts with, do you work at UDC? Think about that answer. You got a growth and prosperity mindset. Oh yes, we're doing great things at UDC. Why, do you have a student that's going to come? We got it for them. We're that institution. You have just what? Expanded the UDC footprint in that person's mind in that moment. Y'all get what I'm talking about? And then the third theme, outreach, engagement, partnerships, right? As much as we can to leverage the support and connections to get support for our strategic priorities and our institutional mission, right? Whether that's financial, right? Whether it's just people supporting us, they want to be part of us, they want us to help them do things out in the community, they want to help us do things on campus. What happens is when we do that well, and we get greater advocacy from these people too, right? So advocacy is key. Advocacy is what influences a lot of students and parents to make their college decision. Advocacy is what influences people who control how money is allocated. It influences where they allocate it. It influences how much they allocate. You understand? Advocacy influences where companies go to recruit and where they want to invest. There's people sitting around the table talking, speaking up, championing an institution like UDC. You want to go to UDC. They're producing talent that we need. You need to invest in UDC. Help UDC be a greater institution. You understand? And what happens when we do that? Well, our impact as an institution is broadened, right? And so when I think about these three buckets, just about everything that we can think of that we want to do as a team here at UDC, you can put it in one of those buckets, right? And so that's how I think about when I'm sleeping, right? Growth, prosperity, partnerships, performance outcomes, right? What's the vision? So I have a vision that I've been tinkering, factoring in this feedback, looking at where we are, where we want to go. And it starts with being recognized for having high quality academic programs across the board and providing an exceptional student experience. Note I said being recognized, which is different than saying it, which is different than it being true and nobody know about it. See the difference? Right? That's a huge difference. Recognize. So we want people to know that we offer high quality academic programs. We want people to know that we offer and deliver an exceptional student experience. Guess what happens if that's true? Our brand and reputation is stellar. Stellar. Stellar, all right? Take sports out of the equation. Think about any university that you think highly of. Take sports off the table. What is it about it? It's the academics, right? For the most part, or it might be how they treat their students, right? That's what it's about in academia. And so we want to have those things be true, right? We want to have those things be true. I'm not saying they're not true now. I'm saying this is the vision. We want to be acknowledged for a leader in student success outcomes and innovation. Acknowledge. So we want to demonstrate that we know how to bring students in, get them out at a high rate with the credential that they want, and that we are the pathway to a successful career. We want to be known for doing that and doing it well. That's a vision. We want to be highly ranked amongst our peers. Why? Because to us, we can talk this complicated language to each other about higher ed, right? If I just ask anybody, tell me what you do, where you work well, you're going to be, oh, da, 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 da. The person on the street doesn't understand that. That's Greek. But you tell them something simple. We got the top ranked English program in the country. Oh, whoa, what? You know, we're top 5 public HBCU. They may not even know what HBCU means. They just know you top 5. Right? You know, any rap fans in here? If you're a rap fan or an NBA fan, you automatically know what this means. What's your top 5? Some of y'all, I thought y'all was with me. Y'all not with me. You don't understand what I'm saying. If you make the top 5, you are universally regarded as being one of the best. Right? It doesn't matter what the category is. That's just how it is. Right? Why can't we be in the top 5 of the list of public HBCUs? Is there anything stopping us? What there is, it's us. You understand? We would be what's stopping us, but I think we can do it. All right? I want to be a first choice institution. When people make their college decisions, parents and the kids, I want it to be hard for them not to choose UDC. I want them to feel bad when they don't come here, like they made a mistake. Then they're always watching us at this other place, and then some of them will join us later. I want it to be hard. I want them to think, you know, hey, I knew I should have went to UDC. Because that means people are coming to UDC, right? I want to be an employer of choice. And I keep saying this, where is Lorenza? I saw her earlier, our VP for HR. She says it's best. She said, yeah, when we post a job at UDC, I want people to see that posting and say, I want to go work there. When I heard her say that, I said, that's it. That's what it means to be an employer of choice, right? People want to come here. Guess what it also means? The people who are here don't want to leave, right? You got something good. You understand? Well, I shouldn't say this here, but I would say, I don't want to leave my wife. Why would I want to give up a good thing when I got this thing right here? You understand? I got a good thing. I don't want to lose it. So guess what I'm going to do? Because she is a spouse of choice. You see? So if I already got one of them prime spots, I'm going to do everything in my power to keep it. If I'm at an employer of choice, I'm going to work hard not to lose my position. You understand? So we got to be an employer of choice. I'm just not saying stuff. We have to be an employer of choice so that you don't want to leave. You see? That's the vision. That's the vision. That's the vision. Then we also want to be the place where companies come first to recruit, where funding agencies think of us first when they're thinking about who to invest resources in to foster research and development. We want them to say, well, you know, we got UDC right here in the Capitol with us. Why don't we pull them in first and have some conversations about, can UDC meet our needs? Because for those that don't know, in the research world, that's how it happens. You think that they put the research thing out there, the requests, proposals, RFP, but there are many projects that are funded through conversations, strategic discussions about which institutions, which organizations can best address the need that the nation has through research. So we want to be part of the conversation, right? That's the vision. And then last on the list, but not least, we want to be a good partner for the district and help drive the economy's growth and prosperity in the way that universities can, right? So we can do that We are doing it. We can do it better, right? And so that's a very high level vision that I have for UDC working with you. And then you say, well, how are we going to do that, right? Well, there's some things that we're going to focus on as a team. Areas of focus for the administration, for us as a team. First and foremost, are student success outcomes. Because if your student success outcomes are great, it's the tide that lifts the boats for everything else, right? If the outcomes are where we are happy with, all conversations we have are focused around, how did you do that? Can you model that for others? I want to partner with you, UDC. I want to invest in you. I want to go to UDC. They're known for that, you see. And we're going to focus on the student experience. Enrollment, right, clearly is a focus. But I put student success outcomes ahead of enrollment. Now, this is not an order. I'm just telling you this because we want to grow strategically. But we also need the success to come along with it. So you got to have the success focus as we think about how to grow. You don't want to grow just for the sake of growing, you understand? It's got to be strategic and done in a way that every student we admit, we are committed to them leaving with a credential. And we want our credential and degree production to go up because it's really about producing people with credentials, right? Fundraising, major area emphasis moving forward, right? We need more resources to support the big, bold, ambitious goals that we have, right? We got to get more revenue coming in. Training and support for faculty, I mentioned that, right? Really bolstering up what we're doing and making sure that we have the infrastructure and support. Continuing to operate with fiscal integrity and economic development, mentioned that, right? Really thinking about how can we help the district's economy? Academic and workforce alignment, right? So that goes back to one, meeting the needs of the district employers, and producing graduates in areas where jobs are needed most. Good alignment there. And then external relations, community outreach. And we have some community members here, right? Where are y'all? People from the community. Anybody? Yes. There's one there. I saw a woman. Oh, there's a woman over there. I saw a woman the other day. I don't know if she's here. If you are, tell me. I was walking across the campus. And she comes up, she said, hey, are you the new president? I said, yes. She said, I'm a community member. I saw you having the town hall, I'm coming. I said, oh. She said, I'm in the community and many of us want to help support UDC. I said, your head's not. That's what she told me, right? She said, I have to tell you, this man right here, raise your hand. Yep. He was literally the first person to email me when the announcement came out about my selection, right? He did, and then he just told me. I said, oh, that was you, first person. And in his email, he said, I'm a member of the community, and we look forward to working with you, right? That was the first message I got from anybody connected here. That was powerful, right? And I've gotten that many times, right? And I know that we do a lot in the community now. Right? I want to broaden that and do more. I want us to figure out how can we continue to be and build on what we're doing to be a good community partner and address and meet the needs of the community across the whole city. I want UDC to have a presence in every ward. Every ward has different needs, but UDC should be able to meet all the different needs. Why should we even be interested in this? How many public universities does the district have? Anybody know? What? One. What school is that? UDC. Say it with your chest. UDC. That's us. We are the one. We are the only public school in this city. The only one. So if the city has needs that needs attention from higher ed, who should be first? UDC. So we had to position ourselves to be that school that people want to call first when they have needs that need to be met by higher ed, right? We can't just say, why are you not calling us first? We have to be the institution that people want to call first, think about the difference, okay? We have to be, so if they're not calling, we're going to ask, what do you need from us? How could we be stronger partners with you? What needs do you have that needs attention that the city's only public university can address, right? I love my other peer institutions, that's great, but we are the only one for this city from a public perspective, and that's key. And there was one thing I did not stress earlier when I was on this slide. It's the concept of one UDC. Now think about the slide and think about the photos. Who knows what the photos represent? Okay, the different campuses for what?
For the university of the district.
Oh, yes, for our campuses, right? We have these campus sites. And I think it's important for us to really promote the concept that we're one university. We're one UDC, one UDC. It's not 3 schools, it's not 2, right? It's one university that has multiple campus sites. It's one university that offers multiple paths to success. At every level, you can get on the train. We like a train going across the country that stops everywhere. We go to the big cities, we go to the small towns. Think about that. If you're trying to go from this coast to the west coast and the train is coming, you don't have to go find the stop. It's coming to you. It's built for you, by you, to get you to where you're trying to go. So we have to do a better job of telling everybody that there's a stop in their town, right? Let them know. Why are you going, calling Uber, getting a car, looking for the bus routes? We coming right to your house. You just got to walk out the door, get on the train, and go where you're trying to go. You understand? One UDC. Why do you think there are 3 people there? Who do the 3 people on the cartoon represent? Somebody said faculty. Could be the faculty, could be the staff, could be the administration. That's 3, right? What are the 3 people doing? The faculty, the staff, and the students. We are holding up the university for who? The students and the community, right? Could be the board, district government, and the alumni. What are they doing? They're working together to hold up UDC, right? Any way you can think of it, we are all on the same page. And so you will hear me and my team promote this concept of one UDC, one institution for the district, right? We are all together. And the last thing I want to talk about is, what are we doing now, right? I've been here, it's my 3rd week, and I said, okay, the first 90 days, here's what I'm going to do. One is what I'm doing right now, communicating a high-level vision for this institution as I see it. Because as I said, it's important that the people I've been tasked to lead understand what my vision is. Where am I hoping to take us as your leader? Listening, same thing, right? Strategic planning. We're going to bring home the new strategic plan and finalize it over the next couple months. There's a lot of great work done on it. We just got a couple minor things to do involving the campus community to bring it home. Also, we're going to identify some presidential priority initiatives, things that I think are important for us to support and put in place to achieve this vision moving forward. Marketing and communication. It's about telling the story, telling the story, telling the story, telling the story. Where is Leanne? Is she in here still? Our VP for Marketing Communication. She wrote me an email. She said, hey, the Washington Post want to do an interview. I think you need to do it. I said, oh, fantastic. But it was not about me. This was the key. It was about telling our story and getting the profile for UDC. Like I said, people were saying, I didn't know this was a HBCU. You do now. right? Because Leanne helped to get that out there. And so one of the things that she's been working on and we're going to partner up is telling our story. I keep saying this, she hears me say this at every meeting. The first day at work, I walked in, I said, where is Leanne? Am I lying? Did, where are you? Did I say that? I said, where is Leanne? Just so happened Leanne was out. So I was like a kid at Christmas. I said, when she come back? I'm looking at the calendar. I said, I gotta wait 2 days to see Leanne. I'm not exaggerating. I was like, where is Leanne? Because the whole time between when I was selected to when I was getting here, and she and I had some meetings, I was thinking about telling our story. And she has a vision, and she's been working, building her team. I said, I can't wait for she and me to sit down and talk about how we're going to partner and tell this story for UDC. And so that's major, right? It's telling a story about what good things we're doing while we're working on doing more good things at the same time. We can walk and chew gum at the same time, right? We can highlight what's good, we're working on getting better at the same time. Relationship building. Continuing to build on the good work from Ron Mason, right? Ron did an excellent job of educating me about UDC. He even came to Tallahassee to see me. The man got on the plane, came down for 2 days, and spent the time with just me. And if you know Ron told it all, right? No filter. He told me everything, right? And I took scrupulous notes. Anything I wanted to know, he told me. And so I just told him in an email the other day, I said, Ron, your insight was invaluable. You really helped prepare me to jump into the water. Didn't say I was prepared to jump in the water. I said he prepared me to jump in the water. That's not the same thing. You understand? But it was so helpful. And I want to continue building on his approach to relationship building because that's very important, right? And then also, last but not least, because this is the most important bullet on the whole slide, build and cultivate my leadership team. Because I can't do it by myself, right? I got to have the right team around me and with me, supporting me with a shared vision, right? We're on the same page about where we're trying to go. And they buy in. And they invested in my success and our success. So that's very important. And so working on that while we speak. But that's what we're going to be doing over the first 90 days. And I just hope and pray that I have been able to give you some sense of what we're going to try to do together. Right? I want you to know that I am extremely pleased to have been selected as the 10th president of the University of the District of Columbia. I don't take that lightly. I'm committed. I'm all in. We are all in. I told the board, I said, you got 2 for 1. Then we got in the car. This is no lie. This is after I came to the board meeting and was selected. I said, we got 2 for 1 package deal. My wife right there with me. Got in the car. She said, what? She said, we? She said, 2 who? I said, you and me, right? That's why she's here now, right? I said, she's going to roll up her sleeves too, right? You get in us because we want to be here. We want to be with you. We want to be part of this community. And we want to partner with everybody that's connected to the University of the District of Columbia to elevate the profile, the rankings, the stature, so that we can have a growth and prosperity mindset, improving our performance outcomes, and foster increased level of engagement, partnerships, and support. So with that, I hope we have a few minutes for questions and answers, but thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.